Ever fixed your look in a stranger's car window and nabbed a millionaire's heart? Get ready for Katie and Ethan's crazy love ride. Soul and Love Stories crew, this tale shows fate loves a laugh, spilled coffee, a wrinkled dress, or a Chicago twist gone wild. May your heart dance, dreams sparkle, and life echo with unforgettable stories. You're not alone. I'm here hunting love's quirky magic with you. Let's cheer. Keeper of chaos and charm, zap souls today, tickle their funny bones, heal their hurts, and guide them to epic love. Turn trips into triumphs. Hooray! Soul and Love Story Squad, pumped for their whirlwind? We're building a love nest, aiming for 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 hearts united. Like to spread the love, share with pals who'd melt for a sweet CEO, and comment your fave part. Plus your city. Subscribe to Ignite Us. Join in and let's spin more tales together. Katie Sullivan hurried along a downtown Chicago sidewalk, the biting October wind tousling her messy hair and flapping the wrinkled uniform dress she wore for her shift at Brew Haven, a small cafe where she worked as a server. At 25, Katie embodied optimism amid hardship. Poor, buried under her mother's mounting medical debts, yet flashing smiles at every regular. That morning, she was late after visiting her mom in the hospital, and in her rush, she noticed her dress skewed to one side. With no mirror, she paused by a sleek, black Bentley parked curbside, using its window as a makeshift fix-it station. She fumbled, pulling silly faces, lips pursed, eyes blinking fast, blissfully unaware someone watched from inside. Ethan Carter, 37, the young CEO of Carter Industries, sat in the Bentley's back seat, eyes glued to his phone, after a tense call with Rebecca Langston, a cutthroat businesswoman pressuring him to sell the family company for her conglomerate's takeover. The board's demands and memories of an ex who exploited his wealth left him drained, icy. But then, through the tinted glass, he spotted Katie, a clumsy girl with goofy expressions, tugging her dress straight. Ethan raised an eyebrow, a rare smirk tugging his lips, his first smile in a grim day. "Who's bold enough for that?" he muttered, curiosity cutting through exhaustion. Katie finally sorted sighed. "Survive another day," and dashed into Brew Haven, oblivious that Ethan stepped out, choosing the cafe to escape his stress. As her shift began, she clumsily dropped a tray of pastries serving her first table, the treats rolling across the floor. "Oh no, sorry," she yelped, kneeling to scoop them up, cheeks flaming. Ethan, seated nearby, quietly picked up a stray pastry and handed it back, eyes twinkling. "You okay?" he asked, voice low. Katie looked up, grinning awkwardly. "Fine, if you don't snitch to the manager." He chuckled softly, thinking, "She's nothing like my world." A goofy start, but fate had silently knocked. Katie Sullivan teetered behind the counter at Brew Haven, gripping a fresh tray, determined not to drop more pastries. Her life was a juggling act, meager server wages, a mountain of medical debt piling up since her mother's stroke last year. Yet she flashed a grin, joking with regulars, "Black coffee, dark as my soul today, who's brave enough?" Customers chuckled, some slipped extra tips, but it wasn't enough to fuel her dreams. She longed to open a small bakery, crafting the sweet treats her mom once adored. But harsh reality kept that hope at bay. "Someday," she muttered, wiping tables, eyes glinting with hope amid the mess. A few blocks away, Ethan Carter sat in his glass-walled office at Carter Industries, his cold gaze sweeping over reports. He'd just inherited the company from his father, but the weight was crushing. Board members pushed to sell shares to Rebecca Langston, a powerful businesswoman threatening to expose an old scandal. A failed romance where an ex chased his fortune. "Not selling," he growled at that morning's meeting, but Rebecca smirked over the phone. "You'll regret this." Exhausted, he craved an escape. His mind drifted to the little cafe, where that clumsy girl had made him laugh for the first time all week. On a whim, Ethan stepped into Brew Haven, settling into a quiet corner to wait for a tardy partner. Katie, unaware he was the Bentley guy, bustled over with coffee. "Black, perfect for a desk jockey, right?" she teased, but her hand slipped, splashing the whole cup onto his pricey gray vest. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she yelped, frantically wiping with a rag, face tomato red. Ethan, instead of snapping, laughed, a sound foreign even to him. "It's fine, I'll live," he said, grabbing a napkin to assist. Katie froze, stammering, "You won't sue me, will you?" He shook his head, eyeing the awkward girl who'd adjusted her dress in his window. "You made my day less awful," he replied, voice low, eyes softening. After her shift, Katie slumped in a corner, sighing at her mom's text. "Insurance runs out soon. Don't worry too much." She ruffled her hair, muttering, "A bakery could save Mom, but where's the cash?" Ethan, lingering, overheard faintly, a pang stirring in him, when she asked, "What keeps you coming here?" He dodged. "Paperwork, dull stuff." Katie grinned. "Dull? Stick around. My coffee's bad, but it's fun." Ethan nodded, thinking, she's real. Nothing like Rebecca. That night, in his sleek, empty penthouse, Ethan opened his laptop, Googling Brew Haven. He found Katie's photo, beaming beside a tray of charred pastries captioned, "Attempt number 10, still a fail." He smirked, a strange warmth creeping in. She didn't know who he was, but her authenticity pulled him in, a breeze amid his corporate storm. Back at the cafe, wiping down tables, Katie whispered, "That office guy, odd but nice." Fate was quietly weaving, tying a poor girl to a lonely millionaire. Katie Sullivan wobbled behind the counter at Brew Haven, clutching a fresh tray of pastries, her brow furrowed in determination to avoid another spill. Life was a relentless scramble. Her server's paycheck barely covered rent, let alone the crushing medical debts piling up since her mother's stroke last year. Yet she kept her spirits high, tossing quips at regulars. "Black coffee, dark as my soul today. Who's daring enough to sip?" Customers roared with laughter, a few slipping her extra tips, but it was a drop in the bucket. Her dream of opening a tiny bakery where she'd bake the sweet treats her mom once cherished felt like a distant star, dimmed by the harsh grind of reality. "One day," she murmured, scrubbing a sticky table, her eyes flickering with stubborn hope amid the chaos. A few blocks away, Ethan Carter sat in his sleek, glass-walled office at Carter Industries, his icy blue eyes scanning a stack of financial reports. He'd recently taken the reins from his father, but the pressure was suffocating. Board members demanded he sell shares to Rebecca Langston, a ruthless businesswoman who'd threatened to dredge up an old scandal, a gold-digging ex who'd left him jaded and guarded. "I'm not selling," he'd snapped at the morning meeting, his voice cutting through the room like a blade. But Rebecca's voice slithered back over the phone. "I'll make you wish you had." Drained and restless, Ethan needed an out. His mind wandered to that little cafe where a clumsy girl's antics had sparked his first laugh in a week. On impulse, Ethan strode into Brew Haven, settling into a shadowy corner to wait for a chronically late partner. Katie, oblivious he was the Bentley guy from earlier, hustled over with a mug. "Black coffee, fits a paper-pushing office type, huh?" she teased with a grin, but her hand slipped mid-motion, splashing the steaming liquid across his expensive gray vest. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry!" she shrieked, snatching a rag to dab at him frantically, her face flushing crimson. Ethan, far from annoyed, let out a low, surprised laugh, a sound so alien it startled him. "No harm done, I'll survive," he said, picking up a napkin to help. Katie blinked, flustered. You're not suing me, are you?" He shook his head, studying the awkward girl who'd fidgeted in his car window. "You've made my day less miserable," he replied, his tone soft, a rare warmth in his gaze. Post-shift, Katie slumped into a corner booth, exhaling heavily as she read her mom's text. "Insurance runs out soon. Don't stress, sweetie." She tugged at her hair, muttering, "A bakery could fix this. But where's the money?" Ethan, still there, caught snippets of her words, a quiet ache stirring in his chest. When she asked, "What keeps dragging you back here?" he shrugged. "Paperwork. Boring as hell." Katie chuckled. "Boring? Hang out here. My coffee's awful, but it's a riot." Ethan nodded, thinking, she's genuine. A world apart from Rebecca. That night, in his lavish but lonely penthouse, Ethan fired up his laptop, searching Brew Haven. He landed on Katie's photo, grinning beside a tray of charred pastries captioned, "Attempt number 10, epic fail." A soft smile crept across his face, an unfamiliar lightness settling in. She didn't know his real life, but her raw honesty hooked him, a breath of fresh air in his corporate tempest. Back at the cafe, wiping down the last table, Katie whispered, "That office guy, weirdly likable." Fate was threading its needle, stitching a poor dreamer to a guarded millionaire. Everything shattered on a rainy Chicago afternoon. Katie Sullivan, fresh off her shift at Brewhaven, was wiping down the counter when she glimpsed Ethan Carter stepping out of the sleek black Bentley. No longer the casual office guy, but a polished Ethan in a gray suit, umbrella in hand, striding into the Carter Industries building a few blocks away. Her breath caught, hands trembling as a glass slipped from her grip, shattering on the floor. A regular teased, "Clumsy again, Katie," but she didn't crack a smile. Fumbling for her phone, she pulled up an article. Ethan Carter, young CEO facing pressure to sell Carter Industries. His face stared back, those cold blue eyes, the man she trusted. "You lied to me. From the start," she whispered. Her heart twisted, not just from the deception, but because she'd opened up, dared to dream about him, only to feel like a fool. She bolted to the staff room, yelling at herself, "You're the biggest joke of my life," then stormed out mid-shift, leaving stunned coworkers behind. The manager bellowed, "Katie, get back here or you're fired." But she didn't turn back, racing into the street as rain mingled with tears. Her bakery dream, her mom, every hope seemed to dissolve as she imagined Ethan toying with the poor server girl. Meanwhile, Ethan faced a tempest in his office. Rebecca Langston, with her razor-sharp smirk, had unleashed a vicious rumor to the press. CEO Carter uses waitress to polish everyman image. She called him directly, "Sell the company or I'll leak your old scandal and her story. She'll lose her job, everything." The board called an emergency meeting, grilling him. "Ethan, what's with this waitress? Is she tied to us?" Pressure crushing him, he snapped, "She's got nothing to do with this. I'm not selling." But his mind spun. Katie was his lone bright spot in this mess, and now he couldn't fathom why she'd pulled away. The next day, Ethan showed up at Brewhaven, desperate to see her. Katie was there, but she dodged him, wiping tables far from his reach with an icy edge. "Katie, we need to talk," he called. She spun around, eyes red, spitting, "Talk about what? How you're a CEO who gets off messing with broke girls like me?" Ethan froze, stammering, "No, it's not. I just—" She cut him off, voice quaking. "I trusted you, but I don't even know who you are." Her tray of pastries clattered to the floor, classic clumsiness. But this time no laugh followed. She silently gathered them and walked away. Ethan stood helpless, patrons murmuring, "What's this drama?" Rebecca seized the moment, emailing the board. Ethan's lost control. Time for new leadership. She threatened to nix a major contract, shoving Carter Industries toward bankruptcy. In the boardroom, Ethan faced a brutal ultimatum. What's it gonna be? The waitress or the company? His fists clenched, torn. Saving the firm meant bowing to Rebecca, but losing Katie was unbearable. "I need time," he rasped, voice hoarse. But the board roared, "There's no time!" At home, Katie collapsed on the sofa, her frail mom on the recliner asking, "What's wrong, honey?" Choking up, she said, "I trusted the wrong guy, Mom. The bakery, everything. It's gone." Her mom squeezed her hand. "If he's real, you'll see." But Katie shook her head, dismissing Ethan as a fleeting fantasy. In his penthouse, Ethan stared at her gifted pastry box, pain searing. He'd hidden the truth to shield her from his world. But now she saw him as the enemy. The climax erupted. Katie's faith crumbled. Ethan teetered on losing it all. His company, and the one person who made him feel alive. A rainy Chicago afternoon shattered everything. Katie Sullivan, wiping the Brewhaven counter post-shift, froze as Ethan Carter emerged from the glossy black Bentley. Not the laid-back office guy, but a sharp Ethan in a gray suit, umbrella in hand, entering Carter Industries a few blocks away. Her hands shook, dropping a glass that smashed on the floor. A regular quipped, Clumsy Katie strikes again, but she didn't smile. Grabbing her phone, she found an article. Ethan Carter, CEO facing pressure to sell Carter Industries. His photo, those cold blue eyes, was the man she trusted. "You lied. All along," she whispered. Her chest tightened, not just from the lie, but because she'd let herself dream about him, only to feel mocked. She stormed into the staff room shouting, "You're my life's biggest joke," then ditched her shift, ignoring stunned coworkers. The manager yelled, "Katie, back here or you're done." But she ran into the rain, tears blending with the downpour. Her bakery, her mom's hope, everything crumbled as she pictured Ethan laughing at the poor waitress. Across town, Ethan battled chaos in his office. Rebecca Langston, with a chilling smirk, had fed the press a nasty rumor. CEO Carter exploits waitress for PR. She called him, "Sell or I'll spill your old scandal, and ruin her too." The board summoned him, demanding, "What's this waitress about, Ethan?" Under crushing pressure, he barked, "She's irrelevant. I won't sell." But his thoughts scrambled. Katie was his only light, and now she'd vanished from reach. Next day, Ethan hit Brewhaven, desperate for her. Katie was there, but dodged him, scrubbing tables at a distance with icy resolve. "Katie, talk to me," he pleaded. She whirled, eyes red, snapping, "Talk? About how you're a CEO screwing with me for fun?" Ethan faltered. "No, I didn't." She cut in, voice breaking. "I trusted you, but who even are you?" A tray of pastries hit the floor, her usual clumsiness, but no laugh came. She picked them up silently and walked off. Ethan stood powerless, patrons whispering, "What's this mess?" Rebecca pounced, emailing the board. "Ethan's unhinged. Replace him." She threatened to kill a key contract, pushing Carter Industries toward collapse. In the boardroom, Ethan faced a brutal choice. The waitress or the company? His fists balled, torn. Saving the firm meant caving to Rebecca, but losing Katie was unthinkable. "Give me time," he rasped, but they shouted, "No time left." At home, Katie sank onto the sofa, her weak mom asking, "What's wrong?" Sobbing, she said, "I trusted a liar, Mom. Bakery, everything's dust." Her mom held her hand. "If he's true, you'll know." Katie shook her head. Ethan a shattered illusion? In his penthouse, Ethan stared at her pastry gift, gutted. He'd hid the truth to protect her, but now she saw him as a foe. The climax hit. Katie's trust broke. Ethan balanced on a knife edge, risking his company and the one who made him real. Katie Sullivan stood in the vast lobby of Carter Industries, rain dripping from her tangled hair onto the gleaming marble floor, her muddy sneakers leaving smeary trails. She'd just dashed through a Chicago downpour from her bakery to confront Ethan Carter, her heart a tangle of anger and gratitude. In her arms, she clutched a box of homemade pastries, a thank you gift that now scattered as she tripped over a step. "Oh no," she yelped, dropping to her knees to scoop them up, cheeks flaming. Employees paused, eyeing the clumsy girl with a mix of curiosity and secondhand embarrassment. Ethan burst from his office, vest askew after a grueling day, his eyes lighting up at the sight of Katie. "You're here," he started, but she cut him off, scrambling up, thrusting the crumpled box forward. "I don't know how to say this right," she stammered, voice shaky, "but thank you, and sorry. I thought you were a liar, but you gave me the bakery. I was wrong." More pastries tumbled out, a staffer snickering, amplifying her fluster. "God, I'm such a mess," she groaned. Ethan stepped closer, ignoring the onlookers, and handed her the last fallen pastry. "No, you're not," he said, voice warm and steady. "I'm the mess, hiding from you because I was scared you'd bolt. But Katie, I've loved you since that first moment, through the car window, when you fixed your dress with that goofy face." He smiled softly, baring his heart in front of everyone for the first time. "You saved me from myself, from the cold shell I built." Katie blinked, rain clinging to her lashes, her heart pounding. "You loved me from that dumb face?" she asked, a laugh breaking through. Ethan nodded, clumsily taking her hand, another pastry hitting the floor, unnoticed. "From then and every day after. You're real. Nothing fake like this world." Scattered applause erupted, a few whistles turning the lobby into an impromptu stage. Blushing, Katie laughed loud. You're nuts, but I like you too, you rich goof. Ethan pulled her into a hug, whispering, crazy for you. Amid claps and scattered pastries, their sweet, awkward confession shone. Pure Chicago. Pure them. Katie Sullivan and Ethan Carter officially started dating after their heartfelt confession in the Carter Industries lobby. Katie's little bakery, Sullivan's sweet haven, soon buzzed with customers, her misshapen but delicious pastries becoming a Chicago specialty, earning enough to clear her mom's medical debts. Ethan, weary from tense workdays, became a regular, settling into his favorite corner, munching on treats while watching Katie bustle about, his heart lighter than ever. On a rare sunny winter afternoon, they stood beside the black Bentley, the spot where it all began. Ethan, crisp in his gray vest, teased, "You're better at fixing dresses than loving me, huh?" Katie, apron dusted with flour, laughed loudly, cheeks pink. "Fate doesn't need fixing, but you need to learn how to eat pastries properly." She shoved a bite into his mouth, flour smearing his chin, and they giggled like kids. Wiping his face, Ethan pulled her close, whispering, "You're the sweetest bakery I've ever had." Katie playfully punched his chest. "Don't get sappy, but I like you too." Under the faint sunlight, they held hands, laughter mingling with Chicago's breeze. Katie hadn't just adjusted her dress in that window. She'd reshaped Ethan's life into a sweet, honest love story, forever theirs. That's a wrap on Katie and Ethan's tale. From a dress fix in a Chicago window to a love sweeter than her bakery's best. Did Ethan's confession melt you, or Katie's clumsy charm steal the show? Soul and Love Stories fam, spill your fave moment below. And shout out the city you're watching from. If this warmed your heart, smash like to light us up, share with your rom-com crew, and subscribe. We're chasing 1,000 hearts, and you're the spark we need. Hop in and let's keep spinning these soulful love tales together. Catch you next time.